Thank you for joining. Great afternoon and welcome to our Blue Stage. I'm very pleased that I have a very interesting round now, coming from sustainability, nice islands, nice video clips, coming now to a quite technical-driven topic. And so therefore, yes, we are talking about how airline and technology shapes the future of travel distribution driven by NDC and One Order. So this is something for very much interested people, I think, and I'm happy that you are joining us. I would like to introduce you to my panelists, and first coming to the stage is Henry Lange. He's Vice President Digital Retailing at Lufthansa. Yeah, I think so. Then we have Nadia Azale, NDC Change Management Director at Air France KLM Group. Hello. Warm welcome to Chris Ram, Vice President Global Enterprise Airline Partners at Travelport. And last not least, Charles Tandonnet, Vice President Growth Program at Travelsoft.
Very French panel. Yeah.
Yes, so I'm very happy to have you on stage. And I would like first ask Henry to give us a quick introduction about what we are talking today. And so the stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Markus. Hi, everyone. After the panel before, it's quite a hard task now, right? After we're all in vacation spirit, now to take you on the journey of distribution. But I'll give it a try. My name is Henry Lange. I'm the VP Digital Retailing for the Lufthansa Group. And thank you, Markus and team, for giving me the opportunity to give a short impulse about what we're talking, probably jointly exploring in our panel. I want to briefly introduce a bit on, indeed, where the journey not to beautiful islands, but the journey of distribution and tech is, in our eyes, leading us and where we're coming from. Where we at the Lufthansa Group also stand on our journey when it comes to NDC, but also why it's still desirable for all of us to look further to 100% offers and orders world. What benefits are there and how do we get there? So I'll try to keep this brief as an impulse so we can get to the interactive part. So that's our journey, I believe. And I think the main points when we look a little bit back first before we look ahead is that in the airline industry we actually also invented retailing very, very early on, right? We were very focused on systems and automation. I think a key point also for us and our joint customers in the end was the emergence then of e-commerce in the 2000s, right? Suddenly the big digital giants appeared and a shopping experience, online retail ideas got completely different, and for our customers we got into a different path of comparison. So this is also where in the industry more and more the discussion around new distribution capabilities, NDC, emerged, and finally, especially also for us around the 2015, we more and more embarked on embracing NDC as a means and technology to unlock further potential when it comes to distribution and retailing. And for us, and I think that's very important for us to explore, it's probably really the journey that we're moving on to a further target picture way in 2030 for One Order. And I get to this, why we should be already talking today about something that is seemingly far away in 2030. A brief look on where we stand in our NDC journey at the Lufthansa Group. Obviously, over a past couple of years, a lot of effort has gone into it, both internally but also in the market with our different partners to drive adoption. So in the meantime, you can see roughly 75% of the volume of the Lufthansa Group is driven by either own or NDC-driven channels. Together with IATA, also the Lufthansa Group carriers have all reached airline retailing maturity. And Also, we are driving and committed to drive further value via NDC for our customers. Most recently, actually, end of last year, we also launched continuous pricing on our intercont routes, something that we had not done before and is only possible to do in an NDC environment. I think a couple of figures that are quite key on here that also probably we need to explore together for the further journey is you cannot do this journey alone, right? On the one hand side, in the meantime, we have over 5,500 connected partners that receive their content via an NDC connection. But also those connections are provided by roughly 70 different tech providers that we're working with. So it's really a collaborative effort to, in the end, reach adoption and reach the stage that we're at. But now, just a brief thought on why do we look further, and I think that's really unlocking in the end something that we should be all interested in, and is additional customer benefits. And what we believe NDC together with One Order in the end will really unlock further potential and further benefits for our customers. If we look at it, obviously, personalization is something that you always talk about when talking about retailing, and this will be even more easy to do and should be unlocked further in a One Order world. The key point is, what do we actually mean with One Order? And that's actually the middle part here. A seamless interaction with one ID. So basically, from a customer point of view, if you have a complex travel, basically each step of the way in today's world would have maybe a different booking record locator for the airline. Then you have your Uber ticket. Here, everything is disintegrated. The main idea is really how we can bring this together for a more seamless experience. And I think this is also where some of the other points then I think become more evident is if things are more connected for the customer, things like more integrated, more automated servicing and self-servicing options will be unlocked, and we will also create a more seamless experience across different channels. It's all driven by this alignment in the infrastructure of the travel. And now, if we think that this is desirable also here, how do we get there? And I think this is also something that we'll probably need to discuss is also here again, even more than until now, I think it's not a story of one player or one industry partner driving it. The full unlocked potential is probably by all of us in travel coming together and working together to create more seamless experiences for joint customers and unlock also much more cross-selling, but also better experiences for customers in one way. And that's why I think the motto that I want to bring in here is with also some of the quotes that you read all around in the industry. A lot of us have embarked on the journey, and I think it's really key, and that's why I'm happy to be here, that we need to work together closely and exchange on that journey and collaborate towards a common goal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Henry. So thank you very much. Right afterwards, I will give the opportunity to Air France also to tell a little bit about your story of One Order and NDC. But first, I would like to also inform the audience. We will work with Slido, and so I think specifically in this topic, I would be very happy and thankful if you also raise your arms or you put in your questions, so I have this on my iPad and I can get along with the questions to the panelists. Now, we heard a little bit about the story of Lufthansa. Now, what are you doing in these terms? Nadia, if you can also just explain a little bit what's Air France doing and your story.
Some words to describe where we stand as Air France KLM. NDC for us is a reality, but it's a continuing reality. Huh? So we are already today in some European markets almost at 50% what we call adoption on indirect sales. It means 1 ticket out of 2 issued by indirect sales is really done via NDC sales. Huh? So we consider we are no more on the project team. It's something which is now completely embedded in our organization. Huh? We are already live with 15 aggregators, including Amadeus X and Travelport, and finalizing the implementation of Sabre. So we are offering more and more options to the agencies to connect. and we are having 28 billion transactions through NDC request. So it's a big, it's an important transition on our industry. It's continuing because we see a different dynamic between the European markets and what we call intercontinental markets. In terms of products, we are already testing with the bundles. We already have what we call the seat bundle, where we can propose at early stage on the shopping a paid ticket, not a ticket with a paid option. So we have the seat bundle, and we just issued what we call a sustainable aviation fuel bundle. Again, another possibility at the shopping stage to book an airline ticket plus a paid option. So we are testing the limits also in NDC with these new bundles, and continuous pricing is obviously already a reality, and we already see the ones who are starting NDC journey benefiting from this offer and having a better value. In terms of One Order is a different story. We launched the program before the end of the year on Air France KLM. We wanted to be one of the pioneer airlines to launch it because One Order is an important revolution on the airline industry because we are moving from the PNR and the AMD to order elements. Because what we know that NDC, beyond what is behind NDC, we are still using the PNR and the AMD. So this is not something that we can continue with. That's why One Order is really the continuity of NDC transition, is to go further and review completely the process of the airline to move from PNR and AMD to order, and identify the customer within the airline journey, no more with the PNR, but more as a customer with an order. So we started the journey, and we are now embarking in a new transition, which is One Order.
So I always try to keep in touch with the faces of the audience. So as long as they are not sleeping, we can move on this level. I think I'm feeling quite comfortable. Just to summarize once more, and you tell me if I'm wrong, because afterwards I'm going to the technical side. You just mentioned several times the PNR topic, and I would like to ask Travelport. The PNR is something I learned some 25 years ago. It's the core of the whole booking process, and everything is running around the PNR. And now PNR it's a kind of booking sequence, but was driven by the GDS. And I would like to ask you as Travelport, but also speak for sure for Sabre and Amadeus and the entire other GDS working around. What is going to change the world so much? As we just heard, it's kind of, we're coming from the PNR, now we are with the NDC, getting more flexible, getting in a different way. And then now we are going to start the journey to One Order. What exactly is the difference?
Yeah, thank you. Look, you said 25 years ago. PNRs were introduced 60 years ago.
Oh yeah, but I learned it.
E-tickets over 30 years ago. EMDs 15 years ago. There's a lot of history with all of them, obviously. But clearly, moving to One Order, moving to a single record, just makes the whole process so much more straightforward. It's all about enabling easier interaction for all of the various players, enables everybody to talk the same language, which is really important as well, and it moves us into that modern retail environment that we've all been talking about for so long. I think one of the key things for me is NDC. When NDC came along, there were so many promises, right? We were talking about personalization. We were talking about all the great things that come along with NDC. One Order starts to enable that and means that we can realize some of those benefits. So yeah, it's an absolutely an integral part of that modern retailing journey, and one that we're certainly at Travelport, and you've mentioned some of the other names as well, are fully committed to.
Cool. So not from the GDS perspective, just from a travel software perspective?
Yes.
Yes, you can.
Yes, maybe just a word on TravelSoft and what we do, because
yes, please.
I know we don't have to present Lufthansa, Air France and Travelport, but maybe TravelSoft needs a short introduction. We are what our friends there called aggregator. So we know that today the distribution is coming from consolidation, way of working to an aggregation way of working, and TravelSoft is one of the GDS, one of the consolidator, and moving slowly to an aggregation point of view. And TravelSoft is actually a technology provider for travel agencies, and we are doing the work to connect airlines to the travel agency tools. And we choose, at TravelSoft, we choose the small world, but important and funny world of leisure travel. So that's what we are doing at TravelSoft. Yeah. And on this NDC point of view, and what we think is moving is what I said at the beginning. So it started a long time ago, and actually airlines world was one of the first world to be digitalized, and plane tickets was maybe one of the first things that was sold through internet, and it was built by layers, and all those layers together at one point, IATA, but also each partner, each people involved in this industry said, okay, now we are at a kind of maturity of what we want to do, what we want to achieve, and we know that we can make it more efficient and more profitable for all of us. And that's what started maybe 15 years ago now with NDC, and we started to rebuild how the distribution is working. And now One Order is kind of in the continuity of that. In this continuous transition, we now are looking at how internally the order is managed by the airline. And we, as a provider, of course, are here to accompany the industry and make that what the airlines are doing for their own work, but they are not working for themselves, they are working for their clients. And what is our, let's say, duty, burden, but what we like to do too, is to bring that to the market and bring that to the travel agencies.
I would like to start with the first question from Slido, and I'm very happy that someone of you raised the question and not me. So, a great presentation to Lufthansa. I just read what's on Slido, okay? Amazon highlighted on the retailing timeline, they sell products from thousands of brands. Why do airlines think they are retailers?
Yeah, that's a good question. Although I would say it's probably a different product, right? You're selling a service and an experience. It's a little bit different than what Amazon does. So I think that's probably one part of the question. We're operating a highly technical, efficient, service company that's acting globally. So maybe there's this aspect, but I think more and more, and that's why I think you can simply learn, and I think that's the point behind the message before, right? What we want to learn from some of those maybe wholesale retailers out there is this aspect of how do you bring your products across, right? How do you work with simply with data, also identifying your customers and the needs they have to recommend things. Things like rating, right? We don't really make it easy to integrate media as well. I mean, nowadays in a lot of purchase points, it's still people would buy travel for many thousands of euros without really necessarily knowing or getting a good picture of what they're getting, right? So there's, I think, those small elements, right, where obviously why we're using this example, while I don't think you can completely compare the two industries per se. And I think what has definitely increased over the past years is, and that's where we do use our channel to get other players in, is obviously in the world of ancillaries, right? To say what are maybe adjacent and complementary product offerings that you want to offer to your customer to make it a more wholesome travel experience. And I think that's what I mentioned earlier, right? This is obviously today often, and I think we heard it before, it's not a lack of ideas or what we would want to do. I think there are some limitations on how easy it is to implement, and that's, I think, where the hope of One Order is, that there's a more easy base for integration.
Can I just add?
Sure.
I think agents are the true retailers in this picture. I really do. I think if you look at travel agents, they've been retailing and they have all of the content to aggregate and distribute. I think they are most definitely the true retailers in this picture, in the ecosystem. And that's certainly from a Travelport perspective why we are building our solutions around modern retail and around their needs and ensuring that it works for them and their customers.
But to one of the airlines, my question would be, what does it mean? You showed this circle, Henry, about who else in the party should be part of the entire system of One Order. In Germany, we do know quite well the package industry, the leisure travel package parts, and this seems to me a little bit familiar from the point of view, not from the technical way. But Nadia, perhaps from your side, in your countries where your airline is focusing on, do you think the entire industry parts will take part in this One Order aspect and this One Order idea?
One Order is, we need really to distinguish a lot One Order from NDC, because One Order is, will start from the airline, mainly because, and it will be a strong transformation on the airline first, of the financing, of the servicing, on the way we will interline with other airlines. That's an important element. It's really quite different from NDC, where it's a disruption of the distribution of the industry of the airline business. For the moment, it's a topic which will start from the airline, working with other airlines and working closely with IATA to build a standard for One Order. And then the way we see things is that we will have like a translation layer, because we believe that the famous EMDs and PNR will take time before it will be completely changed from the whole industry. It will start from the airline who will move on this One Order. There will be translation layer until the transition and the change will be all over the industry. And later on, we will move to a full One Order world. But this will take time. We have to be really to understand the timeline, and the change management will be a long-term run on this process.
So, but at the end of the day, many parts of the industry can take part, shall take part to make One Order to a successful story. Charles, can you explain a little bit what does it mean from the technical point of view to develop all this? Do we talk about 1 or 2 years, or do we talk about decades of development?
You said Charles, so
Charles.
I want to answer, but
Charles,
because, no, actually, maybe it's for you too. Actually, it will. Let's say that it's already existing, but we all have. Each one of us have our own One Order, and the goal of that transformation is to make that the order at the travel agency desk is close or the same or connected to the order at the airline system. And so, what do we have to do for that? Of course, there is some work to be done on the airline system, on the PSS. Maybe I don't know exactly which one it will be, but maybe it will be down into the PSS. Then into each. Let's say, tool or system of the value chain, and then those systems has to connect and to talk together the same language. And that's what you said, Nadia. Actually, it's today everything in every system is kind of separated. It's much better since NDC. Actually, it's really a huge evolution through NDC. But now it has to be, let's say, more connected. And where it's actually funny and interesting is the fact that for us, at the travel agency desk, it's not only the flight. Flight is, let's say, the one part of the booking, but there is the hotels, ancillaries, activities. So it makes that this One Order actually has to be a bigger order than the order directly connected to the airline system, and that's what makes things actually really good and interesting, because it will make that at the end the client would be able to have access or to change or to add value, add ancillaries, add experiences to its bookings, to its travel, quite easily. Today, it's really hard, really, and somebody has to do this work manually. A travel agent, somebody at the airline has to do it manually, has to take his phone or to go into a system and do the translation between one system to another. And the goal of this whole evolution is to make that it's let's say, seamless. And what do we have to do? we have actually to start as it was doing with NDC. I think we start from the beginning of the value chain, which is the airline system. Then the airline will say, okay, I want to open that type of activity, this type of action. I want to empower my partners to be able to have an action on one order that I have on my system. So first it will be themselves, with their system, their tools, their teams, and then more and more they will open and it will go downstream the value chain and at the end into the app of the client.
Okay, and now Chris, sorry. Chris, one more question on this. How does it affect the business model of a classical GDS? Because are you changing the role in which you're running your business in the future?
Yeah, so at Travelport, we're fully focused on enabling that modern digital retailing experience. And I know you said something very similar to this, Charles. But from our perspective, our goal is to be the best aggregator of multi-source content for agents. That's really important, regardless of whether One Order is there or not, obviously. But it's that's enabled and supported by the advancement in technology. So yes, there will be changes, but it's still delivering to what our goals are. If I can just go back as well to the point that Henry made, which I completely agree with in his presentation, was around collaboration. I know you touched on it as well. This doesn't work if we do what we did with NDC, right? Collaboration after we realized we needed it. That can't happen, and I'm not going to bring up that because that's bad history for many people. This has to be everybody coming together. I agree with Charles. There is probably a sequencing of that collaboration, but the sooner we can bring everybody together, the better, because this has to work, and we can't have a situation where, I talk quite often to travel agents, and you say NDC, and they shiver, right? They're like, oh my goodness, we don't want that to happen with One Order. So that's really important.
This is exactly the question about the technical issues, because as I understood NDC some 15 years ago, it was mainly a kind of commercial model. At the end of the day, you had some GDS like Fairlogics taking over a role of the older, of the entire bigger GDS, and it was more kind of question of the commercial aspects. Now, as I understand One Order right now, you're going to switch some of the technical issues quite deep, and if someone wants to be connected in this circle, he has to be fully committed from my point of view. So this was also the reason I asked Lufthansa if you want to take this topic on the panel, because I think the industry is not really aware about what's coming up there for all of them. So Air France, KLM, how is Fabienne? So how is Nadia? Sorry, Fabienne we had before. Sorry, Nadia. How is the industry prepared to follow in One Order?
One Order is it's just starting. There is an ambition from IATA. The project is starting from some airlines. As I said, on Air France KLM we decided to launch the program because we want also to work closely with IATA and the main airlines to implement One Order and to build the basics of One Order. What we know is that for this program we will need a strong IATA standard. I think it's the main learning point from NDC experience. Is that the easiest we have a strong IATA standard, it will be easiest to embark the whole industry. So this is, I think, the main message that I have on that. But we know that a lot of airlines are not starting yet. They are just, participating to all IATA meetings, listening to what's happening. But they are still on NDC transition, which is also highly consuming the teams and the development. And in our side, it's something which is we decided to anticipate and to start to implement, knowing, as I said, that we will have to manage maybe a long transition period where we will be on a different stage at other airlines, and we will have to learn from NDC experience before we go to a full One Order world.
May I just add, right? Because I think the key point is, right, and that's why I think occasions like this are so important. We're talking about a target picture with IATA about 2030, right? And it's beginning of 2024. I cannot you know, I cannot recall that for NDC 7 years before it really had an impact, you know, that it was already such a broader discussion, right? And it's happening here and it's happening in other places. We have colleagues in the team that look at this topic that are specifically therefore reaching out to different parties in the ecosystem, right? To start that conversation, right? And I think that's where maybe some of the learnings of NDC are also translating now in really saying, on the one hand, it's a further continuation of the journey that we already started, and ideally, you know, also will unlock some of the things that maybe currently is often still challenges, but also the whole approach of it, right? It's not just a tech and IT topic that we're tackling. In the end, we're moving a whole industry, we're moving people, right, decision makers, etc. And for that, you need that early reach out, which I think, you know, is why you luckily invited us here to place the topic, and we need to continue to do so.
Okay, I would just take 1 or 2 questions from this, because otherwise we would have questions for the next half an hour. So one was NDC was supposed to be free of surcharges. Today NDC is charged to customer. So was NDC about shifting the distribution cost from the airline to the client? Perhaps one of the airlines or...
Yeah, actually that's a really good question, because we didn't talk about that. And that the main difference between One Order and NDC is the fact that NDC was also behind or maybe in front of the technological change for the airlines. It was also a change of the economical model of distribution. And that's something that won't be actually on the One Order. One Order will only bring value, new way of changing tickets, and yeah, really only add value. And NDC was also adding value, of course, making things more efficient for the airlines. Also, at the end, it will be more efficient for the travel agencies, but still with a change of the model, saying that airlines were shifting their distribution model from paying 2-3 consolidators to 15, 17 for now. And of course, so now the cost of distribution are split between the airline and the agencies. And actually, that's how it works. That's always how things are working. Actually, wholesalers are taking a small margin on what they are selling. And there is quite no distribution in the world where it's only the provider who is paying for his own distribution. So that's actually a quite evident way of distributing. And it's something that had changed, I think. I think now it's a fact. It was not easy. It was not accepted by the agencies at the beginning, but now it's here. And I think that we now think that it's starting to provide value.
Maybe just one quick addition on that. I fully agree with Charles. Indeed, One Order is really a technical change on the way the airlines are working, which will also impact, of course, all the chain of the customer. NDC is indeed changing the business model and the relation between GDS, aggregator, agencies, and airline, but it's also bringing a lot of transparency on the distribution costs, and also enabling the airline to propose multiple solutions to the customer. Some of them are free of charge, some of them are with the surcharge, but it's also due to this diversity on the possibilities to consume the content of the airline. But the customer, he has a choice between a lot of options with the different surcharge, and also transparent and visibility on the cost of the distribution of each channel. I think this is really the big change also between One Order and NDC. Yeah?
Okay, Henry, for me it would be once more quite interesting to understand. So, who will be in the driver's seat, in terms of the entire order of the One Order? Is it the airline, and to say who is in the game and who is out of the game, or is it something like everyone can add on this order stream, or how you?
I think it's probably some questions that also over the next years we will still finally figure out how it will work, right? Because I think one thing we also need to differentiate, I guess, again, right, is the one thing is, are we talking about technical infrastructure? Are we talking about data standards, etc.? What probably will not go away is that companies work with each other, define collaborations, and define how they can jointly create value towards joint customers, right? So I think it's almost two different discussions where I would think we're probably not at the end of the discussion where this might be going. Also because I feel, like we said before, ideally it should open up our ecosystem of travel also to new players, right? That where maybe currently the entry cost to, for example, collaborate with an airline because of technical limitations was maybe too difficult and not, worth it for either side to do this, right? So I think it's at the moment still very difficult to answer the exact mode of collaboration and control, but I think the desirability, as we said, what comes behind that for all of us, but also for our customer, is I think the driving force in the end.
I do have one question here, and I would like to transform it a little bit. It's the core question about who's focusing, or which segment of the business or of your clients is being focused. Is it more like the leisure travel part, or is it also business travel? Because one of the comments was NDC was quite interesting for leisure travel, but for the business part, it was a kind of not really successful. How would you see it? Whoever wants to answer.
Can take this one. Obviously, NDC is we are changing, of course, the model, but we are also implementing a new technology. And I think, as a lot of airlines, we started by the easiest segment, which is the easiest part of the leisure, because leisure you have also a very complicated segment like the packaging, and we know that. So obviously, a lot of airlines started with the easiest segment, which is the leisure, and step by step moving from online leisure to packaging leisure. But indeed, what we see lately, we see also an acceleration of the business segment as well, because there are also some products. I mentioned what we call the bundle, or what we call dynamic offers. We are moving also in NDC to personalization, which is also very interesting for the travelers, for the travel manager, for the corporate market. And the business segment needed to move to NDC to have the full ecosystem ready. And what we see lately, we see OBTs, we see more OBTs ready. We see also more aggregators ready. All the tools that use the corporate market is starting to become ready. So yes, indeed, it started with the leisure, but I think as of this year, we see more and more, at least for Air France KLM, corporates raising their hand and who want completely to move to NDC. And I think the acceleration of NDC worldwide is also helping to see also global corporates moving this way. So it's coming, the business segment. So.
I can just only very much agree with Nadia. And again, maybe to the point I mentioned earlier, right? I think the adoption discussion, you need to always ask yourself, is it a commercial discussion, or is it partially also this technical or interface discussion? And as Nadia mentioned, right, I think that the corporate space, obviously, because of probably more complicated needs, or more complex, let's put it this way, and also more players that are involved that all need to align, and work in the same way, I think was one of the main reasons why it took some time. And let's not forget, we also had a small pandemic in the meantime, where maybe also corporate travel in general was not the main focus of our whole industry, right? So sometimes I think our feeling for timelines in the story and the discussion around NDC is maybe also a little bit skewed, right? Because we all had some other focus topics for good reasons in the meantime. But I think I completely agree that this year I'm very sure we see more breakthrough in the corporate space when it comes to NDC.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and I agree with Nadia and Henry completely. And the other thing I'd add is modern retailing is for everybody. It's not. It doesn't just help the leisure agents, or doesn't just help corporate agents. It helps everybody. Just unfortunately, as we were rolling out NDC, there was probably more benefits to Nadia's point initially for those easier segments, which is why leisure, point-to-point, more basic connections were probably put in place first. But it benefits absolutely everybody, and the one player that we have to keep in mind probably more than anything else, and this is most important for, is the end traveler, the end consumer. It makes it so much easier for them moving forward as well.
Cool. We got already to the end of the panel discussion. I would like to raise one last question, and this is mainly the question of your opinion, your very personal opinion about the next 1 or 2 years, what has to be done to get one order in the heads of the people, in the brains, and how to start with one order for the next 1 or 2 years? Who wants to answer first? Henry?
Yeah, I think it's several factors for sure, right? For a complex topic like this. The one thing is for sure what we've just discussed here is the continuation of the NDC journey, right? Really as a preparatory step to look into more modern technology in general, create also the mindsets around this transformation, and ultimately also continue those discussions about the value for the traveler, right? As you mentioned. So I think that's something for the next 2 years that is very important. And the other thing is, as I mentioned in the beginning, is really to continue that collaboration and engagement already for the long-term picture, to really take the learnings from past experience on how do we exchange on standards, how does it look, you know, the collaboration, how will it look like in the future, and create this transparency. And for that, you know, because obviously we will have to all have those discussions within the different organizations of what comes with the change, right? What kind of investments need to be done? What kind of training, right? It is a further transformational topic, and that really needs this constant push also, and the constant convincing of, you know, what comes out at the end as a benefit for everyone in the chain.
In addition to what Henry said, for me, 3 elements is indeed we need to continue to develop NDC because it's continuation of NDC One Order. Second one, we will need to be capable to manage change management on the long run because there will be an important transition period between NDC and the fact that some airlines will launch one orders, other will take more time, and we will have different tools on the market, one order, orders, and PNR and EMDs. And the third one is a strong IATA standard. So important collaboration between airlines and IATA to define a standard for one order.
I'll be quick, so I can see that it's red already on the timer. I agree with you both completely. I think collaboration is critical. Continuation of NDC, absolutely. Standardization, it's been lacking in NDC. We need to make sure that we have much stronger standardization moving forward. And that doesn't mean we have to be more rigid or less flexible, but it just means that we have to have good standards in place. And yeah, I think that's probably a good place.
Yes, maybe just one word. Yeah, exactly. Let's say continuity, and maybe we should not speak anymore for a new step. No, the step is done with NDC. Okay, it's done. Now we shouldn't bring and build something big and frightening like a new big project, a new step to high to reach, but just say that it will be small steps. The evolution of the airlines distribution of the travel market. Actually, we are doing great things in sustainability. We talked just about that just earlier. So we are doing very bright, yes, marvelous things on sustainability. We are doing many beautiful things, and it has to be small steps. So it's a continuity. It's no more a big project. So for me, my wish would have been to say that it's no more a big thing, a big one order. It's just an evolution, a usual and normal and efficient evolution of the market.
Thank you very much. Was a nice word for the evolution for the next 10 years. Thank you very much having you here. Thanks.